when that toxic person comes back into our life. You know, when you've enjoyed that miserableness, that heaviness of a toxic relationship, you're finally out of it, you're finally back on your feet, and bam, they're right there, maybe a year, maybe 2 years later, and they're wanting back in. It's a good topic to talk about because it's asked quite a bit. What do you do when they do come back? Let's talk about it. Roll it. Welcome back to another video where we've been exploring this whole mindset change and how time just keeps ticking, and we need to change. We need to positively move in the right direction in order to get ourselves back on track and in that happy lane, and really understand what life's all about and how life works and how to get us in that happy state more often than not. In this video, we're exploring this idea of being in that toxic relationship, getting out of it, getting back to a happy place, and all of a sudden that toxic person coming back. The email comes from somebody who's in this dilemma. They're wondering, what should I do? And we often get stuck in the situation. And I'm 100% sure, if you're watching this video and many videos similar to it, you're probably going through something similar, or you have been through something similar. It's always a rough one, especially when they come back and you're kind of sitting there going, what do I do? What if? And you're hopping back and forth. The people in your life are going, no, don't do it. And in your mind you're going, I don't want to regret not taking the opportunity. And the risk is there. You know the risk and you know what the right answer is, but your mindset is in that conflict, and it's really integrity that has grown, and you're using integrity to make decisions, but now emotions are taking over again. So let's jump into this email. Hi Nikos, what is your opinion on toxic relationships when it comes to old boyfriends, she says BFs, coming back? It's been 1.5 years, year and a half, long time, and for some reason he is back. Some reason. My feelings are still there. My life has gotten way better. New job, new life, really. I just can't shake the fact that if I let him go now, I will be in regret. And the question really is, will you? Will you really be in regret? Is this something that your emotions are telling you, or is it something integrity and working with integrity and your logic will tell you? And I think emotions are taking over a little bit here. Just to really be accurate on this email, you say, it's been a year and a half and you have really built your life. Your life is back on track. You're going through, or you've gone through this process of growth, and you have a new job, new life, everything's moving smoothly, and you're saying he came back for some reason. Why do you think he came back right off the bat? What's your actual logic behind it, and what's your emotional side saying? And then you have this thing of my feelings are still there. What feelings? What feelings? Have you actually sat down to ask yourself, which feelings are these? Are these the feelings you had when you started that relationship? Or are these the feelings that you had when the relationship was falling apart and you were a doormat? You were being treated like the ultimate doormat, that person that just got beaten up day in, day out, and their emotions were just shattered. Their personal worth, the self, was just shattered 100%. You can't shake the fact that if I let him go now, I will be in regret. This line is so critical. How is this a fact? How do you know this is a fact? Because to me, it's not a fact. This is an assumption, and really, it's your emotions starting to make this assumption. In fact, when I read this, or when people bring this up in this way, it's usually because they have gone out and they have talked to their family, friends who have seen this 180 degree and they're doing so well, and they go, hey, do you think I should try it? And they're looking for that approval to go try it. And if it's not working with the people close to them, because they're people close to them, they're like, where the hell do you need that? Like, no, you're not doing that. Do not do that. And then you're going out and reading all this stuff online, you're going into forums, you're going onto all the social media, into groups, you're emailing people who answer questions on videos, and you're going, hey, what should I do? But you're looking for that approval, like a reasoning, and by approval I mean reasoning, or a justified reason to go, hey, I'm gonna go try this out right now. And this is all really in the mindset and the emotions taking over. This is the reality of it. It's not a regret thing. Are your emotions back really? So let's really step back from the email for a second, and then let's just look at the situation that occurs with toxic people. Now, this is, you've gone through a toxic relationship, and from this toxic relationship where you experienced all the toxicity, you've experienced everything bad. Now, this could be in the narcissistic cluster, and you're looking at all that whole, area of people. But I mean, this is from toxicity and on, and it doesn't include people that come back into your life that, hey, you had a mutual breakup, or you had a bad breakup because of any one reason, and now they've come back for whatever reason. They've realized their mistakes, or they were going through a growth, they needed to go on their own, they needed to date other people, who knows, and years later you meet up with them. So this is toxicity. You have to have had a toxic relationship to understand that emotion you're going through. And the reality is, most people that don't understand, because they've never been in a toxic relationship, they won't understand what you have gone through. They won't understand what is going on with this decision, because most people who haven't experienced it will be like, why do you want to go back to somebody who treated you like shit? It doesn't make any sense. No sense whatsoever. So when we go through this toxic relationship, we're broken down, we're torn apart. And the reality is, anybody who's toxic, it will actually break you down. It is their sole purpose to see you break down. They enjoy it. They enjoy seeing you break down. And in this process, two things may happen. One, you start realizing that this person is harmful to you. You start realizing that things need to change, and you start sticking up for yourself. You start using that magic word no. And as you use this magic word no, well, the person gets upset, or they try to break you down even more, and this conflict arises. At the end of the day, the toxic person, especially narcissistic types and in that cluster, see you as a toy. They just see the whole relationship as this big game. It's their rules, and you are trying to consistently get back to that happy spot where they just don't care. They're just having fun. They're really looking at it, whether it's you being happy or you crying, it's all fuel for them. It does not matter. And the reality is that the toy eventually isn't shiny anymore, and if you're causing too much conflict, they will go find, or if not, have found somebody, and they'll just say, hey, see ya later. Or they'll just get in that situation where they're going to be like, you know what, I'm done, because I've broken you down enough, because you didn't stand up for yourself, and you didn't continue to rise up and be there for you and really say no to things you didn't agree with. And eventually they're going to be like, well, there's no more challenge here, there's nothing for me here, I'm going to go to the next person to tear them down, and let's see how you react later on. This is why they never really leave your realm, and this is why really they always seem to come back. This is why, if you go look up narcissistic stuff, well, you'll always hear words like the Hoover, because the Hoover does happen. It's a reality of things. They're checking in to see how you're doing. Is there some fuel for me? Is there something I can grab out of there, some enjoyment I can get from it? Which tells us a critical thing here. You've made this jump, and you've corrected your bad habits, your bad patterns, the things that you weren't enjoying. The person you had become was not the person you loved, and you fixed yourself up to get back to that level, and maybe not 100%, but you're getting there to that person you want to be. So the question about this regret thing, will I regret it? Well, this comes back to that emotion side of things. And when the toxic person comes back, well, they're looking to see, what can I enjoy out of this? How can we get back into the game? How can we have fun? How can I make sure I continue down that path to get the person back to where they were? The idea of your emotions, and I still have feelings for the person, this is where we need to figure out, where are those coming from? Are those that vision you had when you started, and that pleasure you had, that happiness when you were on that pedestal? Or is it in that middle, or is it at the end where there were some good moments and you're still holding on to those oh so good moments between all the bad moments? On the other side, the toxic person, well, they're not caring about all this stuff. They don't care. All they care about is, hey, how do I have a benefit out of this? How do I get mine? And it doesn't matter if I'm going to bring them back down to where they were when I left them. Look, they got back on their feet and now they're coming back for more. And this is what really is happening. So right off the bat, would I recommend that you pursue this? No, I wouldn't. I would say you've made so many good moves. You've gotten so much better. Why ruin a great thing for yourself? Why go back there? Are you going to regret it? I'll tell you why you won't. You won't regret it if you just say, no, not today, I'm done with that. You won't regret it because you're starting to grow more and more. You probably have pushed away a lot of the negative people by now. You probably have gotten in that spot where you're working on yourself all the time, where you're continually focused on you. So you probably have been using that magic word no whenever something isn't in your favor, or else you wouldn't have gone and got a new job, new career, started moving in that direction where you're like, my life's like new, it's reborn, it feels great. So you probably have a good set of people in your life, and what that will bring is a good person down the road that wants to keep growing with you. It's a person that you will want to grow with them. And the reality is, every good relationship needs two people that are growing, that are supporting each other's growth. They're moving in sync to grow together in whatever direction they're heading. And if the roads are matching, when you're meeting and you're moving in the right direction together. And if that road continues, well, the relationship keeps going. And if the road isn't heading in that direction, then the relationship eventually ends. So yes, you will find that other person that come in your life, and you will be happy. And yes, you'll go back to the toxic person, and you'll be like, in certain moments where the new person isn't doing the stuff that you feel they should be doing, and the toxic person did do at certain moments, you'll be like, oh my God, and you'll have those flashbacks. But you're going to be going back to the beginning of that relationship with a toxic person. And it will be that time where you can say, well, they only did that because they were trying to make sure I fall in love with them, make sure they can control me, make sure that they play their game in the right way right at the beginning. Simple. Very simple. And then you'll come back to reality. And yes, you will grow with the person, telling them, hey, I really need you to be doing this. This is what we need to be doing in these situations. And all of a sudden, the relationship will grow. You won't be going back. There will be very limited thoughts on regret. This is what I'm trying to get at. There will be some, but not like a regret that you're thinking of. Now, if you look at it from the other perspective, yeah, you can try it. And, I don't recommend it, but yeah, you can try it. But you have to follow some simple steps in order to do this. You need to literally be 100% with yourself. You need to be truthful with yourself and make sure you can do this. This is critical. So step one would be for you to really, really take some time with yourself and say to yourself, in the last year and a half, what development have I gone through? What have I actually experienced? And what have I learned? What is going on with me? And where am I? Am I centered? Am I full of self-love? Am I loving myself with the decisions I'm making? And what this will do is will allow you to actually sit down and make a list of these experiences you've been having. You'll be writing down your principles on life, your values, and you'll list out all the characteristics you want to have in a person. And this is critical to have this. In other videos, I've talked about an example of this is ambition. I need people in my life with ambition. Doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is, whether it's business, careers, if it's a significant other, a personal relationship. I need them to be one and in sync with their ambition. I need them to be ambitious in life. In whatever they like, I need that. Why? Because I find that those people I have the best relationships with when they are ambitious. And then sometimes though, you start off a relationship and patterns pick up and you start seeing that they're not as ambitious, and then you realize where that void is and why the relationship isn't growing, it isn't getting stronger, it isn't becoming what you thought it would be. And that's the reality of life. Like, not everybody wants to be something, but they really aren't, and they carry forward, but patterns reveal themselves. And this will really help you understand who you are looking for to be in your life and who you really are. Step 2 is to go back to that question you had, or the statement you're making, and my question really. Are those feelings really the feelings you have about this person? You're saying, I still have those feelings. Which feelings do you have? Write these down and say to yourself, are the feelings based on that initial first part of the relationship where you were on the pedestal? Or are they in the middle, or the in-betweens? Really write all these down and really put them in that timeline. Put it to a bird's eye view and say to yourself, where were these emotions? Were they there on a constant? And ask yourself, how does this all fit in? Because the next step is the idea that you're going to look at all these characteristics and then compare the person. And ask yourself, is this person capable of going back to that person that made me feel the way I was feeling? And which one are they going to go back to? And this is the reality of it. And a toxic person comes in, they're not going to be that person that you're expecting. They're going to go back to being that person that they were at the worst. They're not going to be getting better if they were toxic. Now, if they were, not toxic and they were just, out in la la land trying to figure it out, and they came back based on a mistake, well, that's different. They can change in being more attentive to the things that they need to be to have a better relationship. However, the toxicity that exists in toxic people, it doesn't change. It just gets worse, really. And what you'll find now is that you'll be able to figure out who this person is, and this may take some time. So your step 4 will be to have a timeline. And you will say 4 months, 6 months, a year, I'm going to try this out. And this is where your regret will truly come from, because you are going to start actively moving into this relationship. And now the question really begs, how centered are you? How much integrity do you have in your decisions you're going to be making? Because you're going to have to use the simple word, and the most important one, and the most critical one, and this is the word no. No, 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 no. No, I don't want to do that. No, no, that's not me. No, I don't do that anymore. No, we're not going to go do that. No, you're not going to be doing that. No, no, no. And what will happen is you're going to be saying no to these things, and their goal will be to break you. Their goal will be to do the same thing they did before. If they have changed, then it won't be, and you'll see this pattern of either it's changing, and it's where you want it to be, or it's changing back to that toxicity where they're bringing you down. And you give yourself this timeline to figure this out. The more you stand firm with yourself and aligned with yourself, and you keep saying no, well, the patterns will reveal within that relationship that you've restarted, because it'll be starting new again, and you will start to see this pattern forming, and the level of how they are reciprocating to it in either a positive or negative way will show how much respect they have for your word of no, the respect they have for your values and your principles in life that you have now firmly readjusted to over the year and a half that you were separated. And what you'll find is that level will prove how you are seeing this person in reality, because your emotions will eventually be taken away with that word no, and your logic and you being centered with your integrity will be the defining factor whether you really truly believe that this person is for real or they're just the same toxic person that left you with nothing. Again, you will regret doing this. Your timeline will help you limit the regret. Like, unless this person was an off anomaly and they did change even though they were toxic, like super changes, or they weren't really toxic and they were just made an honest mistake because they were looking for whatever they were looking for or whatever reason, but they weren't toxic and on that cluster side. You will regret this. You will regret it, because the timeline, you're going to look back and say, wow, I wasted another 3 months, 6 months, a year. You're going to literally say to yourself, look at all the people I've met, and who knows, I could have probably been with somebody else. That, who did I miss out on? I've been through that. I've gone through the toxic stuff, and I went back to it, and I learned all my lessons, and this is the bonus out of it, where, you will regret the time you lost because it won't work out, or if it doesn't work out, I should say. And then what will happen is along the way you'll meet different people where, single guys that you're going to be like, oh wow, I could be with that person. And, you'll look back on it and be like, look at the opportunities I lost because I went back to trying to help this person, trying to figure this person out, trying to get this relationship to work. Try. And, the reality is that you will regret that time. And that's that. But I mean, again, when you move forward from this, and the bonus will be that you've learned this lesson, so that next time you are with a toxic person and they come back, you'll know to say, not today at all, forget this, I'm done, I'm out, this is it. And you cut it right there and off you go. And it's a learning process. It's a growth thing that will occur, and yes, it's mistakes, but we learn from mistakes. And now that you're more centered, you've done your 180, you're feeling great again. The number one thing you need to remember, that if you do entertain this, you need to make sure that the moment you start breaking, when you're saying that no, and they're going, okay, and they start breaking you and you start going backwards from that, new you that you've become, well, it's time to say, I'm going to be out of this, and this isn't meant for me. This isn't good for me. This isn't where I want to be, and this is your red flag to get out. I would really have somebody you trust by your side, and if not, go with a counselor and somebody who's a professional, and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, and I need to come back and be accountable for these situations, so I know, so my mind's not playing that negative chatter and I'm creating all these new things as time goes on, that I can come back, talk to somebody, talk to the professional, and be like, hey, this is happening, and this is happening, and how much logic is involved, and how much is the emotional side involved, and where am I at? Am I actually falling off off that road that I was on, and is it time to end it? Because you're gonna need that, and it's gonna be hard, and you're just prolonging the pain. But I mean, hey, you need to try, you need to learn, and these are the things that we're addressing in this. Again, my recommendation is just move on. You're a good place. This won't be a regret that you're thinking about, and your emotions are just coming back in. So I wouldn't do it. Just go get what you deserve. And this isn't what you deserve. You deserve way better. Really think about it when you're making your lists. What is it that you really deserve? And I think you'll have your answer. My name is Nikos Rentas. This is mentorsapproach.com. Hit the like button if you like what you see. Of course, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you can get the daily idea that motivation to get your mind thinking and get your mindset moving in the right direction. Of course, leave a comment of a story that you've experienced, your own personal story, and how did it turn out? What would you have done different? Because who knows, somebody might be in that situation and they might be reading your comment, and who knows, it might help change a life.